Something interesting I saw one day watching a documentary about ancient technologies was there's a 60 or 100-kilometer band, wide band across the earth that connects all the a lot of the pyramids in interesting places with megalithic construction. Easter Island through Peru here, Cusco, Machu Picchu, across the globe, connects, goes through Dakar, the huge mining areas, all the way to pyramids of Giza. So kind of interesting. And that line, this 100-kilometer wide band, is 30 degrees with the equator. So it's kind of an interesting numbers. 30 degrees. 30, 60, and 90 is always kind of in everything in nature. Tesla said if you only knew the mysteries of the importance of 3, 6, and 9, you'd know the keys to the universe. Well, maybe it's 30, 60, 90. So this band here were ancient civilizations built, pyramids and huge civilizations. 30 degrees to the equator. Something I thought would be fun to see is the Peralta stones document this gold deposit. It's also a religious area in this mountain here. As you can see, juts up out of the mountain range around it. Large mineral deposit in it. Noted on the Peralta stones as the religious area. How did people find this stuff long ago? So I thought it'd be interesting to see how this lined up with the 30, 60, 90 grid. So I run a line from here through another known area where there's a pyramid in Mexico. Tenochtitlan. I don't know if I said that right. So I go through Mexico City. That's where the Great Pyramids are at. Down in Mexico. Strike a line. And let's see how it connects with the other grid. Come to find out, this is pretty close to 60 degrees. It's 1 degree off. So that's kind of interesting in itself. This is 30 degrees from the equator. This is 60 degrees from this line here. So if we look closer in Arizona, I've mapped out where these volcanic centers are that fed the mineralization of these mineralized areas. So there's one over here. Up north of Crown King, Battle Flat is right there. Over by Baghdad. Over here by Kendall Peak, Mojave County, and they're all within 100 kilometers of this line here. All of them. Mountain Pass. I think there's one out here, and that's within 100 kilometers of this line. They're almost parallel with the Carlin Trend too. There's two lines here, pretty close to being parallel. A little farther out than this 100 kilometers, but so what is that telling us? Is that telling us that ancient people knew the mysteries of the earth and they knew how it worked? Or is it all just happens to be where mineral resources were that mankind prospered at? Another interesting thing is the distance from Peru to the pyramids and from the pyramids in Mexico are about the same distance, within a few hundred miles. Also, the mountain peak that was documented by the Peralta stones is also within a few hundred miles of the Giza pyramids. Is that just a coincidence? Another interesting thing is the distance from the mountain in the superstitions to the North Pole is within a few hundred miles of being the same distance to the pyramids in the Giza. About the same distance, within a few hundred miles. Here's a smaller version of the 30-60-90. The 30-60 angle in nature is all these crystals formed, and they're all at a 30-60 degree angle. Here's a closer up version. So these lines here are 60 degrees and 30 degrees off the main lines. So that's kind of how nature formed. It's the right energy, the right frequency. That appears to be how this energy is spread out. Now, is that the same thing in the Earth? Just a different scale? Everything in the universe is supposed to be scalar. From hurricanes to the vortex in your tub to the galaxies in the universe. Same thing with energy, how it crystallizes and forms on the Earth, 60 and 30 degree angles. So this smaller version here is just what's going on the Earth and on the global scale. Here's ice water crystal forming. It's on a 30 and 60 degree angle. Nature, again, using the same patterns. There's many different crystals. They all have that same grid pattern, basically in 30 or 60 degrees. Snowflakes, water freezing as it starts, it's all on the same pattern. Here shows the 60 degree line, 60 degrees between the crystals. Here's a gold crystal, gold formation, same thing. That gold precipitated out of that fluid in the line of this energy. That's this pattern, that's why it did that. So miners have been saying for years and years and years that gold precipitates out of the fluid, and pressure change, temperature change, chemical changes. But maybe it's energy, the flow of the energy, the direction where the energy is. In these patterns is where the energy is, and that's where this gold here is forming. Just like the water crystals. So if everything's scalar, and the small nugget here maybe that can be enlarged and patterns can be found to find more mineralized zones using these same patterns. Here's the feeder path from a volcanic center that I mapped out. So this is Battle Flat area north of Crown King, and then these are no mines in these areas here. So these are the feeder paths. So the fluid went out. Possibly the fluid went everywhere, and the energy went out in these lines. That's more like that explains more too. So these are 30 degrees apart, these 60 degrees apart. It would make more sense, because if water was being forced through a horizontal thrust fault and there was a big blockage right here, the water theoretically would go around it and turn a corner. If there's more blockages, it would end up going this way. If the water was everywhere, or almost everywhere, and the energy goes out in a certain pattern from the center, the epicenter, that would explain why there's direction to these feeder paths.